My name is Miriam.
My name is Mariusz.
My name is Marty.
My name is Matthew. I've been battling with drug addiction my entire life. Since as far back as I can remember. I believe I was around 9 years old when I first started to experiment with drugs. And by the time I was 16, I believe that I had kind of crossed the threshold of addiction and was using pretty much constantly.
I was struggling a little bit with some mental health issues, and alcohol had always been the way that I managed my symptoms.
The night it all came to an end was December 8th of 2015 when I was arrested in Fort Heights attempting to buy some crack cocaine. And when the police actually threw me to the ground and drew their weapons on me, I was a little overwhelmed, but I was grateful, and I ended up thanking the police that night for saving my life.
My husband had had enough of my drinking. He put his foot down and said, okay, no more alcohol in the house, no more drinking at home. I got to the point where I chose to live on the street because by living on the street, they couldn't take my alcohol away from me.
I lost a great job. I had lost the trust and faith of my family. My daughter was in foster care. And I remember talking to my probation officer, Chris. I knew of Gateway. I knew of the great programming that they had, and I remember asking Chris and telling him, promising him if he could get me into Gateway, that I would try the best I could to be the poster boy of success for the drug court program.
I spoke to a wonderful person named John in intake at Gateway, and I was just crying, and I remember crying and saying, if I don't do something different, I'm gonna die. And so the very next day, I was at Gateway.
My experience at Gateway was very positive. I remember the first question that my counselor asked me is, how do you want to recover? How do you want to get sober? And I found that a little strange, right? Because I was anticipating that I would come to Gateway and they would tell me exactly how I was going to get sober. So to ask for my input from day one to me meant a lot. It meant that I had some say-so in the process in which pathway I would follow to sobriety.
I felt very safe, and for the first time in my life, I was going to concentrate on me, and I was going to do whatever I needed to do to get better, and everybody there was there to help me do that.
I work with alumni from Gateway who, when they leave treatment, to keep them connected so that it prolongs the recovery.
It's important to show people like, you're not alone. I've done these things too, and I know how to get out of it, but I can't do it on my own either.
When they leave treatment, that's a great time to invest in folks in recovery because they're learning to lead new lives in recovery. And by helping us when they're outside of treatment to get them connected with other healthy people who are good examples of recovery, it prolongs the recovery, and we see people change their lives.
Every time I go to one of these events, there's always at least one person who is completely new to recovery, completely new to sobriety, doesn't really know what to do. And it gives me a chance to offer my experience. So I need these events. We need these events in order to feel okay.
I realized there was a need for these programs because we would see people who very often would leave treatment but not stay connected. And I think that Gateway is leading the way in doing programming to help people stay connected when they leave treatment.
I'm looking forward to what the future has to offer. I know that I have a shot at life. And what I've always wanted, what everyone has always wanted, is to be loved, to be wanted, and to belong.
Looking forward, I see the work that we're doing at Gateway Foundation, being able to help hundreds of thousands of people stay sober, stay connected to recovery, rebuild their lives, and become productive members of society.
Looking forward, I see a lot of hope for a lot of people. We need to get the word out that recovery is possible and that treatment does work.
When I look back, if I could say to myself anything, it would be that it is okay to be afraid, but not to let that fear, rule your life, that not to be afraid to take that step.
Looking back, before I came to Gateway, if I could have given myself any message at all, it would have been, it doesn't have to feel like it's going to be okay for it to be okay.
I think another thing that's really important to me that that Gateway gave me, and I think about this a lot. My dad was dying before I went into Gateway, and so when I went into Gateway, I felt like I was giving up this valuable time with him. But I'm glad that I did, because when I came out, my dad ended up dying a month after I came out of Gateway. And the day he died, I was able to be with him. And I was holding his face in my hands when he died. And I remember telling him that it was okay, that he could go and it was going to be okay. And later on, I thought, if I was drinking, I couldn't have been there. And so Gateway gave me the opportunity to say goodbye to my dad. And I don't think I would have had that.
Staying sober, utilizing my support systems, my work, the employment, the work that I do, helping others, all of it has come together. And I have been able to actually achieve custody of my 9-year-old little girl. She is now back in my life, and I support her, and she lives with me. I drove back here today in my own car, knowing that my daughter will be at home tonight when I get there to give me a big hug and welcome me home. I have a great relationship with my fiance and my mother. I'm a son again. I'm a father, and I'd like to think I'm a good employee as well. And I have the opportunity to help others, and I believe that's truly what this is about.